Tonight, when your phone is quiet, you might think something is wrong with you. No message, no invitation, no little red notification, proving you still matter. You sit there in a perfectly safe room, surrounded by walls, electricity, food, and a device that can reach almost anyone on Earth. But the real answer to why you feel this way is far stranger. That ache in your chest may be older than cities, older than farming, older than language as you know it. Your loneliness is roughly 200,000 years old, and it did not begin as sadness. It began as an alarm. For most of human history, being alone was not a lifestyle choice. It was a threat. Your ancestors did not survive because they were the strongest animal on the landscape. They survived because other humans could watch their back, share food, notice danger, warm a child, remember a path, and help carry a body through a brutal world. So what would happen if one of them drifted too far from the group? The body needed a signal. Not a polite thought, not a gentle reminder, a painful one. Loneliness became that signal. It was the smoke alarm of the social brain, a distress system that said, return to the group before the dark finds you first. The psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying this strange pain. He argued that loneliness is not simply the absence of people. It is the feeling that your social bonds are not safe enough, close enough, or reliable enough. In plain English, your brain is not counting bodies. It is asking whether anyone would truly notice if you disappeared. That question is ancient, and it is sharp. If this kind of hidden human history pulls you in, staying with this channel means you keep finding the ancient machinery still running beneath your modern life. Because your brain did not evolve for apartments, comment sections, or unread messages. It evolved for small bands of faces. Robin Dunbar, an anthropologist at Oxford, became famous for studying the limits of human social networks. His work suggested that the human brain may comfortably track around 150 meaningful relationships. Not 5,000 followers, not endless usernames. Around 150 people whose faces, moods, histories, debts, favors, loyalties, and stories could actually fit inside a living mind. What does that mean for you today? It means your brain can be surrounded by digital noise and still feel socially starving. A feed can show you hundreds of lives in minutes, but your nervous system is looking for something older and slower. Eye contact, shared silence, a hand on a shoulder, a familiar voice saying your name, a person close enough to smell smoke before you do. That is why loneliness can feel embarrassing. It seems irrational. You can have contacts, coworkers, relatives, group chats, and still feel a cold space open inside you. But your brain is not asking whether humans exist nearby. It is asking whether you belong to them. The difference matters. In 2003, neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger and her colleagues ran a study that became famous for a simple reason. They placed people in a brain scanner and had them play a virtual ball-tossing game. At first, the other players included them. Then the other players suddenly stopped throwing them the ball. Nothing physical happened. No one was hit. No one was bleeding. But the brain reacted as if social exclusion hurt. Parts of the brain linked to pain lit up when the person was left out. The message was uncomfortable, but clear. Social rejection is not just an idea your mind dislikes. Your body can experience it as injury. Why would evolution build something so dramatic? Because isolation once killed. A cut on the foot mattered because it slowed the body. A burn mattered because it damaged the skin. Social pain mattered because separation from others exposed the entire person. No lookout, no shared fire, no help if predators circled, no one to defend a child, no one to remember where the water was. Pain forced attention. Pain changed behavior. Pain pulled the lonely ancestor back toward the fire. This is where loneliness becomes counterintuitive. It does not only make you sad, it can make you defensive. Cacioppo's research suggested that chronic loneliness can push the brain into a state of social threat. You start scanning faces more carefully. A slow reply feels personal. A neutral expression seems cold. A room full of strangers feels like a field full of hidden danger. Your brain is trying to protect you, but it can trap you. The very alarm that tells you to reconnect can also make connection feel risky. You want closeness, but you expect rejection. You want to speak, but silence feels safer. You want to be seen, but being seen feels like proof that you can be judged. Have you ever pulled away from people because you were afraid they already had? That is the ancient alarm misfiring in modern light. In the ancestral world, suspicion after isolation may have been useful. A separated human returning to a group needed to read every signal carefully. Was the group angry? Was the bond broken? Was trust still alive? The lonely brain became watchful, because watchfulness could prevent another wound. But today, the same watchfulness can turn a phone into a predator. 3 dots appear, then vanish. A message stays unread. Someone laughs across the room. Your ancient nervous system may treat each tiny signal as evidence of exile, even when nothing has been decided. This is why loneliness is not weakness. It is inheritance. The researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad helped show how serious that inheritance can become. Her large studies found that social disconnection is linked with higher risks to health and mortality, meaning loneliness is not just a feeling floating above the body. It reaches into sleep, stress hormones, inflammation, the heart, and the immune system. Your ancestors did not separate mental life from physical survival. Your body still does not. When connection feels unsafe, the body prepares for danger. Sleep becomes lighter, the mind rehearses threats. The world seems less friendly. Even rest can feel unfinished, because an isolated animal cannot fully relax. That may be why loneliness can follow you into a crowded place. It is not cured by noise. It is not cured by simply being seen. It is eased by signals of reliable belonging. Harry Harlow's famous monkey experiments in the 1950s were cruel by modern ethical standards, but they revealed something powerful about attachment. Infant monkeys placed with 2 artificial mothers often clung to the soft cloth mother, even when the wire mother provided food. Comfort mattered, touch mattered, safety mattered. The lesson was not that food is unimportant. The lesson was that living creatures need more than fuel. Your nervous system wants warmth that says, "You are not alone here." And that need did not vanish when humans built cities. Cities changed the scenery. They did not rewrite the body. A modern person can live above thousands of neighbors and still have no one to call at midnight. A modern person can post a smiling photo and still feel unseen after the screen goes dark. A modern person can be professionally admired and privately unknown. Is that failure? Or is it a Stone Age signal trying to operate inside a world it was never designed for? The ancient group was not perfect. It could be harsh, it could punish, it could exclude, but it usually made the human life visible. Your absence had weight, your skills mattered. Your mood could be noticed because your face was part of the daily pattern. Modern life can hide you in plain sight. That is the strange part. Loneliness is not always the feeling of having nobody. Sometimes it is the feeling that nobody has a map of you. Nobody knows the small weather inside your day. Nobody notices the pause in your voice. Nobody expects you at the fire. So your brain rings the alarm. Not because you are broken, because belonging used to be shelter. But there is something even deeper running beneath the science. What if this 200,000-year-old ache is not just a biological reflex? What if it is a spiritual homesickness? If you look at this through a lens of faith, the picture changes entirely. You were not built to drift alone through a crowded world. You were intentionally designed for communion. This profound loneliness you feel is not a flaw in your design. It is the echo of a creator who made you for relationship, a built-in signpost reminding you that you belong to something and someone much larger than yourself. The ache is simply proof that you were made for more than isolation. This does not mean every lonely feeling tells the exact truth. Alarms can be too sensitive. Smoke alarms scream over burnt toast. Social alarms can scream over a delayed reply, an awkward conversation, or a quiet weekend. The pain is real, but the story attached to it may not be. That is the modern skill. Not silencing loneliness. Listening to it without obeying every fear it invents. Maybe the feeling is asking for one honest message. Maybe it is asking for sunlight and a walk beside another person. Maybe it is asking you to turn back to the God who sees you clearly when the screen goes dark, and to return, in some small way, to the fire of real community. Because your ancestors did not survive alone, and neither does your soul. You can be independent. You can be capable. You can enjoy solitude. But somewhere inside you, an ancient watcher still counts the faces near the flame, and longs for the exact belonging you were created to experience. So tonight, when your phone is quiet, you might not be hearing proof that something is wrong with you. You might be hearing a 200,000-year-old alarm, still trying to guide you back toward the people and the presence that make the dark feel less dark.